there's one really important phenomenon, or two related phenomenon, called halo and horns effects, which I want to talk about first. So the horns effect and the halo effect. Now, these two phenomena have to do with how we perceive other people, how we relate to them. The horns effect has to do with us disliking one characteristic. If we dislike one characteristic of someone, like their accent, if it doesn't fit our predispositions, then we don't like that person as a whole. And if we like one aspect of a person, like the British accent, we like that person as a whole. This psychological phenomenon obviously causes problems for people like me with foreign accents, but it also causes a whole host of other problems like sexual discrimination, gender discrimination, racism, LGBTQ discrimination, and other problems like this. So this is responsible for a lot of what you in HR are trying to fight. And it's also responsible for other kind of unusual phenomena that you wouldn't really think about. Even for people who are trained in addressing these cognitive biases, these biases like you are. Now, I spent about 7 years as a professor at Ohio State, so that's kind of my background. I love to do full-time coaching, consulting, and speaking, but I spent 7 years there as a professor at Ohio State. And as you might know, the big thing at Ohio State is the football, Buckeyes, right? Go Bucks. So that was the big thing. As a professor, I was contractually obligated to root for the Buckeyes. And some of you who have a big football team or other basketball team or so on might know what I'm talking about. So I was doing a presentation much like this one to the human resources group in Central Ohio, the SHRM group. It's called HRACO. So there was about 100 HR professionals, and it was a presentation on diversity and inclusion at their annual Diversity and Inclusion Conference. And we're talking about Buckeyes and Wolverines. Now, Wolverines is the Michigan football team. Michigan is the big, big rival of the Buckeyes. That's kind of one of the biggest rivalries in football. So not really fans of Michigan there. And I asked them, hey, how many of you, there were about 100 people in the audience, would hire a Michigan fan? Please raise your hand. And how many do you think raise their hands? Come on, somebody loudly. Yes? Who? How many will raise their hands? 4 people. Okay, almost right, 3 people. 3 people raised their hands. 3 people would hire Michigan fans. Now, regardless of what you think about Michigan and Ohio State and some of the poor life choices that Michigan fans might have made, yeah, I'm a Buckeye fan. Doesn't make them bad employees. It doesn't mean that they're going to be bad employees. And when I brought that up, the HR people there were really hesitant to agree with me. So that's kind of one of the phenomena that we don't think about that really impacts us in a really negative way, even people who are trained to do HR expertise, like the people there. And so it's especially dangerous in hiring and promotion, the halo and horns effect. Now, it has a whole range of effects in HR settings in higher education. So for example, I was talking at that back table about training on avoiding sexual harassment and other forms of training. You'll see many of you who are dealing with trying to get faculty into that training find that you have to really drag them, hand and foot. It's really hard to get them into that training. And one of the reasons is that faculty have horns effects around going to the training. Now, they just don't acknowledge that this is a phenomenon that they experience, the halo and horns effect. They think that they're better than that. And so they don't go to these training because they don't think it's necessary, despite a number of stories in the news that you might have seen that show that indeed these trainings are necessary. So that's one type of problem. Now, another type of problem is getting faculty to do diversity inclusion hiring. I did a number of interviews with folks in this room who told me about how hard it was to get faculty to collaborate with HR on diversity and inclusion hiring. There are so many faculty who just prefer to go and check the box saying, yes, we tried to get a diversified pool of candidates. I know I see a number of heads nodding, and they didn't really go to HR and try to get them to help out. Now, this is another element of the horns effect and the halo effect. Faculty, it's not like faculty don't want to do diversity inclusion hiring. What's happening is that they want to retain their independence in hiring, and many feel that going to HR undercuts their independence, regardless of the fact that going to HR would help them do both, retain their independence while also improving diversity inclusion. Now, there have been a number of success stories. So one of the people in this room, Robin, so if you would stand up, give her a hand, come on, let's help her stand up. She tells me that she was really successful in collaborating with a number of people in HR to get faculty to come to HR and ask for help and get them involved in the process because of a culture that they created in the university of trust and collaboration between HR and faculty. And I strongly encourage you to go to Robin and talk to her about what steps she and others have taken to get that culture going. So that's one thing. Now, another thing that has worked for several people, especially one I want to note, is getting people higher up in the administration getting involved in diversity inclusion hiring. And Lauren has told me, if so, Lauren, stand up, give her a hand, that getting the provost involved in strongly supportive, very actively supporting of diversity inclusion training has been crucial for diversity inclusion. So that's kind of another strategy that has worked. So getting higher up administration and getting that culture of trust between HR and faculty. So now I want you to take 30 seconds and think about where horns effects and halo effects might be going on in your campus, in your HR work, and write that down in the handout. So please take 30 seconds to do so.